Okay, last chapter we have discussed about chemical control, right? Chemical control. Chemical control was about the hormones. That day only I told like in our body there are two systems under control and coordination. Okay, in our body there are two systems. In control and coordination there are two systems. Two systems are, one is chemical control and one is neural control. So chemical control is already done, all those endocrine glands. I have given the notes also. Now this chapter is about the neural control. That is about the neurons. Okay, neurons, brain, spinal cord, all those. So the neural control, it is also known as like human neural system or human nervous system. I hope you have heard of nervous system. Nervous system and neural system is the same thing. Okay, nervous and neural is the same thing. So human neural system is also known as human nervous system. So this system, it is divided into two parts. That is, one is central nervous system and one is peripheral nervous system. Okay, the human nervous system is divided into two parts. One is central nervous system or central neural system. Neural and nervous is the same. Central nervous system and peripheral nervous system. Okay, see in short, CNS and PNS. Okay, two parts. The first part is CNS, that is central nervous system. So in CNS, what happens? CNS, it includes the brain and the spinal cord. Spine, all of you know, spine, your backbone. So the CNS, it includes the brain and the spinal cord. Okay, but the PNS or the peripheral nervous system, it includes all the nerves that are in our body. Okay, there are different nerves in our body. So all the nerves that are present in our body, those nerves are included under peripheral nervous system. Okay, so now nerves or neurons, all of you know neurons. Do you know the structure of a neuron? I know you have studied all this in school, and for those who are from science stream, you got even in high secondary studies the structure of a neuron, right? So neuron and nerve cell, neurons. So those all are included in the peripheral nervous system. So neurons, those are also of different types. The peripheral nervous system, the nerve fibers, they are of two types. Nerve fibers, okay, these are not the type of neurons. The nerve fibers, they are of two types. One is afferent and efferent. Just give me a second. Okay, so these are two types, that is afferent and efferent. Okay, this one, afferent and efferent. So this types, they are distinguished on the basis of their function. Okay, this differentiation or these types are based on their function. That is, this afferent nerve fibers, what they does is that the afferent nerve fibers, they transmit signals. Or okay, before that the nerve fibers in a body, what does the nerve fibers do? What is the function of the nerve fibers? Can you hear me all, or just only one cannot hear? Please respond. Can you hear
Yes,
me?
ma'am. Yes,
Anushka, I
ma'am.
guess it is your network issue. Okay, so uh, two types of okay before that. So nerves or the nerve cells or nerve fibers, their function is to transmit electrical impulses. Okay, just remember that their function is to transmit electrical impulses, and that is the reason why those impulses are very fast, since they're electrical impulses are very fast. Okay, electricity flows very fast, you know that, right? So those impulses, they are transmitted means they go from one place to the other very fast. Okay, the function of nerve fibers is to transmit impulses. Just let me tell you one thing. So it is like you are seeing something in front of your eyes, right? You are seeing the laptop, you are seeing something to read, right? So your eyes, they can see, no doubt they can see, but do you think your eyes can read? Your brain can read, right? Or your brain can distinguish things, or your brain can distinguish colors, that this is the red, this is white, this is green, pink, or whatever, right? So your brain can distinguish colors, and your brain knows how to like it is it is in your minds, right? It is in your brain. All of you have read, like from your childhood you have learned alphabets, then to read and write and everything, right? So that is stored in your, that memory, it is stored in your brain. Like as a computer, in the computer all those memories is stored in the disk. Okay, so same way your brain functions as a memory storage, right? So that is why the brain, through the brain you can see, but yes, through the eyes you can see, but what happens, uh, if there is no brain, even if you see through your eyes, you won't be able to distinguish what is this, and you won't be able to think anything. Okay. So what happens when you see through your eyes? Like we are seeing an object. Suppose you are seeing the color red, right? So how will you distinguish the color red? When you see the color red through your eyes, the eyes, they send the optic nerve. There is an optic nerve in the eye. So those optic nerve, they will send signal to the brain, right? Nerve, optic nerve again, nerve fibers, right? So the optic nerve is also a type of nerve fiber. So that nerve, they will send signal to your brain. Okay, that will be like in milliseconds. Okay, so it will send signals to your brain, then the brain will identify that yes, this is red or this is this. Okay, then that is done. So that is the function. And see how much time it takes. Like when you see the object, as soon as you see it, you recognize it, right? So that much time it takes to process in the brain. So that I just want to say that the nerve impulses or the nerve fibers that transmit those electrical impulses, right? So those impulses are carried out very fast. They don't take time. They are very fast. Okay, and the functions of the nerve fibers is to transmit impulses, and their impulses are always electrical impulses. Okay, so is everything, like when you hear through your eyes, sorry, through your ears, when you hear, then also again impulses are need to be carried to the brain. Everything, every impulse need to be carried to the brain, so that, or your spinal cord or brain, like so that to process the see here the CNS, it is given, right? CNS is the site of information processing and control. Information processing means you're seeing something, and then the brain will process that particular thing, and then it will control what your actions will be and what your thinking will be and everything, right? So that is what is the impulse. So what happens, the PNS, it contains all the nerves. Those nerves, they carry impulses, and they carry impulses to the CNS, because CNS consists of the brain and the spinal cord, right? So that is it. And nerve fibers, they are of two types. One is afferent nerve fibers and one is efferent nerve fibers. The afferent nerve fibers, they carry impulses from the tissues or organs or cells to the brain and spinal cord, that is to the CNS, and the efferent, that is the opposite. Efferent carries impulses from the CNS, or that is the brain, to your organs. Okay, let's give an example, right? Let's okay. You're walking in the road, right? You're walking in the road. You see a hole or a muddy part in the road. Okay, so when you see it, your your eyes, you saw it, right? Your eyes will send signal to the brain. So when it will send signal to the brain, it is done by the afferent nerve fiber. Is it clear? Because the impulse is sent from the organ to the CNS. Okay, and then when you see the mud, and then the brain will process the information, and then it will send signal to your legs or your body, so that you'll move apart from that particular ditch or a hole or mud, and you don't dirty yourself, right? So the impulse that is transmitted from the CNS, that is from the brain to your organs, that is done by afferent fibers. Is it clear? Sorry, efferent fibers. So afferent fibers, it carries impulses from tissues and organs to the CNS, that is brain and spinal cord, and the efferent fibers, they carry signals from the CNS to the tissues and organs. Is it clear, this portion?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, so this is about CNS and PNS, okay, central nervous system and peripheral nervous system or neural system. So human neural system, it is of two types, that is CNS and PNS. CNS, it will contain brain and spinal cord, and PNS, it will contain all the nerves. The main point is this, okay. The CNS will contain brain and spinal cord, and the PNS, it will contain all the nerves. Okay. Then we will move to neuron, or the nerve fiber itself. This is the structure of a nerve cell, or not fiber, okay, nerve cell. So this is a nerve cell. Many cells will together, they will form the fiber. So this is a nerve cell. So these cells, many cells, together will form the fiber. Okay, so these nerve cells, they may make up the the peripheral nervous system, the nerve fibers. This is the structure and functional unit of neural system. So like we call like cell is the structure and functional unit of life. Why cell is known as the structure and functional unit of life? Because without the cell there will be no life, right? From every miniature form, when in the initial stage, when fertilization takes place in the woman's body, right? So in that stage, the ovum from the female, that is also a cell. The sperm, that is also a cell. They will meet and they will form a zygote. So they will form a single cell, right? Two cells, they will fuse together and form a single cell, that is known as a zygote. So that is the starting of life, starting of a creature or a species, that is from a single cell, right? So that is why cell is known as the structural and functional unit of life. I'm giving the example of human beings because it is easy for us to imagine human beings, because we are one of them. So I'm giving the example of human beings, but it's not only for human beings, any other living organisms like plants and everything. For every individual, it is like that. Okay, so same way for the nervous system or the neural system, this nerve cell or the neurons, nerve cell and neuron is the same thing, okay? Nerve cell and neuron. So this nerve cell or neuron, they are the structural and functional unit of the neural system, because without the neuron there will be no impulses sent. Okay, and the neurons, they carry electrical impulses, and many neurons, they will these neurons only, they will form the nerve fiber, or these nerve cells, they will together form the nerve fiber. Okay, So this is the structure of the neuron. This diagram is also important. Okay, you have to learn to draw it. Okay, it's a very easy diagram. Then you have to learn to draw it and to label it, all the parts. So basically, the structure of the nerve cell or the neuron, it is divided into three parts. Okay, one is cell body. This is the cell body. This whole thing is the cell body. Then there is dendrites. This branches kind of thing. This is the dendrite, and then there is axon. This long stalk, right, stick-like thing. So this is the axon. So a nerve cell is divided into three parts. That is cell body, dendrites, and axon. Okay, so like every cell has a nucleus, right? Every cell has a nucleus. Only the RBC do not have a nucleus. RBC is the red blood cells. Red blood cells, they do not have a nucleus, but every other cell, they have a nucleus, right? Same way, this nerve cell, this is also a type of cell, but the shape is different, right? For blood cells, we discussed, right? The structure of platelets is like a star. Then structure of RBC, it is like a button. So same way, the structure of the nerve cell, it is like this. So uh, this is a cell, so it will have a nucleus. So this is the nucleus. Okay, and there will be cytoplasm here. All over here there will be cytoplasm. And then these are this dot fragments. These are the Nissl granules. What are Nissl granules? They are fragments of endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, they are small fragments of endoplasmic reticulum. So Nissl granules are small fragments. Okay, they are present in the cytoplasm. They are fragments of ER, that is endoplasmic reticulum. So they will be found here in the inside the cell. Okay, in the cytoplasm. Okay, then this one mentioned already. This is the cell dendrites. Many dendrites are there. Then okay, nucleus. Then this is the axon, right? Axon. Now this blackish portion, this one dot thing, this is the Schwann cell. This is also a type of cell. Okay, this is the Schwann cell. So what is the function of Schwann cell? So this Schwann cell, they will form this myelin sheet. This one, this covering on top of this axon, you can see, right? The covering. This covering is known as myelin sheet. Okay, this covering, it is formed by the Schwann cell. Okay, the envelope or the covering, that is the myelin sheet on top of the axon, it is formed by the Schwann cell. Alright, the Schwann cell are responsible for the myelin sheet. If there is no Schwann cell, there is no myelin sheet. Okay, the Schwann cells, they will form the myelin sheet. And what is the function of the myelin sheet? See, I have mentioned, right, that nerve cells or neurons or nerve fibers, they transmit electrical impulses. Right, electricity is passed. So these myelin sheaths, they serve as the insulator. Conductor and insulator, all of you know. Can you give me a good conductor of electricity and bad conductor of electricity? One examples. One example of good conductor of electricity and one example of bad conductor of electricity. Can you give me examples?
Electricity, iron.
Iron is a bad or good?
Good.
Iron is a good conductor of electricity. Okay, then.
And plastic, bad conductor.
Okay. Okay, then so plastic, it will be known as bad conductor, is known as insulator. Yes. Okay. So yes, iron, it is a good conductor of electricity, which means uh, electricity, it can flow through iron. Okay. Or you can say like raw bamboo sticks, right? It's a good conductor of electricity. And when it is dry, it is a bad conductor. Why? Because there is water in the raw one, right? Water is a good conductor of electricity. That is, water is a conductor. And uh, uh, what to say, that is why, that is the reason why the plastic, it is not a conductor of electricity. Okay, it is a bad conductor. That is an insulator of electricity. That is the reason why you can see the electrical wires, right? The electrical wires, they are coated with plastic or rubber wrap, right? Or you can see the switchboard. Have you ever seen a switchboard made up of uh, tin or not tin, iron? Have you ever seen? No, it is made up of plastic, and that is the reason why it is made up of plastic. If it is made up of those switches and those what to say, mm, boards, they if they are made up of iron, you will not be able to give a switch on anything. You'll get a proper electric shock. Okay, that is the reason why it is made up of plastic, so that electricity cannot flow through the plastic. That is, it is a bad conductor. Conductor means it is it allows the flow of electricity through it. Okay, that good conductor and bad conductor. Bad conductor, it does not allow the flow of electricity. That is why it is asked to uh, uh, don't not to touch electrical switch with wet hand. Why do you think is that? Because water is a good conductor of electricity. Okay, if you have water in your hand, you have the probability of getting a electric shock. Okay, that is the reason why. So this axon and the nerves, not only the axon, nerve cell, they carry electrical impulses, right? And these myelin sheaths, they act as the insulator, which means, and just giving, like if you touch this one, you'll get shock, right? That is why is this insulator is there, like it is acts as the in the wires. The wiring is done, right? Those wires, they have a plastic coating. So same way, that plastic coating is done because it is an insulator. It serves as an insulator. The same way, this here also in the axon also, this myelin sheaths, it acts as an insulator. Am I clear? And the myelin sheath, it is formed by the Schwann cells. Okay, this is the myelin sheaths. This one long thing is the axon. This is the Schwann cell. These are the myelin sheaths. Then in between, the myelin sheath is there. Then in between the myelin sheaths, there are some like small nodes. Nodes means it is small spaces where it is the axon is not covered by myelin sheaths. There are small portions where the axon is not covered by myelin sheaths. Okay, that portion is known as the node of Ranvier. Okay, this one, node of Ranvier. And then this is the this one is the axon. This axon ends here, and then this what to say, it looks like a root, right? Tree root. So this portion is the axon terminal, and this round portions is the synaptic knob. Okay, so this is the structure of a neuron. So you have to remember each one. So while drawing it, you have to draw a level diagram. That is, you need to label it, everyone. Okay, now, so this is the structure of a normal, a general neuron. Okay, but neurons, they are of different types. They are of again different types based on different types, many types. Okay, so based on whether this myelin sheath is present or not, neurons are of two types. That is myelinated. This one, the diagram here is a myelinated neuron because myelin sheath is present, right? But for some neurons, myelin sheath is not present. So those neurons, they are known as non-myelinated or unmyelinated neuron. Here you can see last one here written. Right. So if the myelin sheath is present, so based on whether the myelin sheath is present or not, neurons are of two types. One is myelinated and one is non-myelinated. Myelinated will have myelin sheaths and non-myelinated will not have myelin sheaths. Is it clear? Then next is based on the number of axons. This is the axon and dendrites. Based on that, again the neuron are of different types. Three types, that is multipolar, bipolar and unipolar. Okay, multipolar, bipolar and unipolar. Okay, okay. So three types of neurons based on whether the number of axon and dendrites. Okay, so for multipolar neuron, this is a multipolar neuron. Okay, so the multipolar neuron will have one axon, but they will have multiple dendrites. Okay, one axon and multiple dendrites. Bipolar will have one dendrite and one axon. Is it clear? Can let me see if I can find diagrams. Let me see. There are no specific. You can just see your own like Google it like multipolar. This one, okay, this is a multipolar neuron because there are many dendrites and one axon, right? And bipolar will have only one dendrite and one axon. So you can search the net like multipolar neuron and you will get the diagram. This one, and bipolar neuron you will see again. And unipolar will not have any dendrites. They will have only one protruding, that is one axon. Okay, no dendrites are there. That's unipolar. Okay, so see three types of three types of neuron based on the number of axon and dendrites. So these are, and then there is based on function. Based on function, neurons are of three types. Okay, based on what function it does. So that is, one is sensory, then there is motor, then there is mixed. Okay, for sensory neuron, what is the function of sensory neuron? So sensory neurons, they will carry signals or the impulses or signals, right? So they will carry signals from the sense organs to the central nervous system. Okay, sense organs to the central nervous system, they will carry impulses. But the motor neurons, they will carry impulses from the central nervous system to the sense organs. Okay, it is the opposite, like afferent efferent, right? So sensory neurons, they carry impulses from the sense organs to the central nervous system or brain and spinal cord, and the motor neurons, they will carry impulses from the brain and spinal cord, that is CNS, to the sense organs. The mixed neuron, they have the ability to carry impulses both ways, to the CNS to central sense organs and from the sense organs to CNS. Okay, this is both ways. That is known as mixed neuron. So when it is asked to write the types of neurons, you have to write each one. Okay, but when it is asked like they write what are the types of neuron based on this one, based on function, based on number of axon, based on presence of myelin sheath, then you can write the in particular one. Otherwise, if it is asked to write the types of neurons, you have to write everything. Okay,
Hello,
if there is
ma'am.
no specification. Yes.
Ma'am, draw কৰিব দিলে কোনটো draw কৰিম? Myelinated to নে non-myelinated?
A2 নিউৰনৰ যেতিয়া structure draw কৰিব দিব, whenever the structure of neuron is asked, this is the diagram to be drawn because this is a standard neuron. Okay, multipolar neuron is a standard neuron. This is the normally neuron found, but there are other types also. Okay, so whenever it is asked to draw, you have to draw this one.
Okay, ma'am.
All these levels should be there. Okay. Okay, next is reflect action and reflex arc. So reflex action, I hope all of you know already. Okay, but before that, tell me, do you know the difference between voluntary and involuntary? Voluntary and involuntary.
মেন ভলান্টাৰী যিবোৰ নিজে নিজে হৈ থাকে, তাৰ মানে আমি নিবিচাৰিলেও হৈ থাকে,
Mm.
আৰু ইনভলান্টাৰী যিবোৰ আমি খোজো তেতিয়াহে হয় মানে।
অপোজিটটো কৈছা তুমি অপোজিটটো কৈছা। ইনভলেন্টাৰীটো হ'ল যোনটো আমি গম নাপাওঁ, without our consciousness. Okay, involuntary, yes, involuntary is without our conscious effort or without our thought. We don't know that we are not giving a particular thought and then that thing is occurring, right? So that is an involuntary thing. And voluntary is you know that you will do that thing and you are doing it with your full consciousness. That is a voluntary thing. Volunteer in games and in schools also, you will have a volunteer, right? During sports week, during everything, those volunteer, they do works by their own will. No one has asked them to do it. No one has given them some responsibility, nothing. They just volunteer themselves to the work. Okay, no one has done anything. That is, they are doing it willingly. But involuntary function, involuntary, that is for human beings. Okay, but voluntary function is that you are doing it willingly. Like you're moving your hand, you're walking, that is a voluntary thing. You're walking, that is a voluntary thing. No one is making you to walk. You're walking by yourself, right? Your own choice. So that is a voluntary thing. But involuntary actions, there are many examples of involuntary actions, like your sweating, right? You sweat, right? Do you want to sweat? I hate sweating. Do you want to sweat? No. That is an involuntary action. You have no control over it, right? So that is voluntary and involuntary. That is happening to your body, that sweating and all, but you have no control over it, right? That is an involuntary action. And voluntary is which uh, about which you have proper control, and we are doing with it with your full mind and body, right? That is a voluntary. So, what is reflex action? Reflex action is involuntary. Just for the first point, you need to remember about reflex action is that reflex action can never be voluntary. Okay, reflex action is always involuntary. That is, you do not have any control over the action or the thing you are doing. So, what is a reflex action? So, like you're sitting in a classroom. Okay, you're sitting in a classroom. Suddenly, you were talking to someone, maybe. So suddenly, the teacher saw you talking. Then she or he threw a chalk at you. Okay, what will be your reaction? Immediately, you'll move aside, right? Am I right? You'll move aside. Or that is one case. And second is that, like, you're outside in a park. Suppose you're outside in a park. You're sitting. Suddenly a fly came near your eye. You'll automatically close your eye, right? Or someone took your hand and they put it near a burning flame. You'll automatically withdraw your hand. Or you're walking in the road, suddenly you saw a snake lying nearby. You'll jump. Right, all those actions that I gave examples of, all those things, they are not done consciously. You don't think that I will jump this particular way, or I'll move this way, and I'll do that, I'll withdraw my hand and then you'll withdraw. If you think so much, no, your hand will burn, the snake will bite you, and the chalk will hit you. Am I right? So you don't think about it. You don't think that you will walk. You don't think that you will like sleep. Those things we think. But here the particular situations that I am explaining, we don't think. That happens. Okay, that is our body's reaction. Okay, it happened. It is not our conscious effort. Like see, when you're in the kitchen and if you lift something hot, suppose you're boiling water, and that boiling pot or something, they have a handle, and you touch the handle without any like covering in your hand or covering in the handle, right? That is hot. So when you lift it, you will leave it automatically. You will not think once that the water will all get spilled all over my body, or the water, I will have a lot of mess here. You will not think it once. You'll just leave it, right? But leaving it will cause you more injury, but then you'll leave it because it has burned your hand, right? So that is thing that you don't think from your brain. You don't have to think. That is, it happens automatically. So that type of action, that happens is a reflex action. Okay, that is directly the response. It is entirely done by the nervous system. That is, the nerves are responsible for that action, and it is involuntary. Involuntary means without any effort, without any consciousness. You are not aware that you will be doing that particular thing, and you are doing that thing. Okay, that is known as a reflex action. Am I like, is it clear? So reflex arc now. Reflex arc is very simple. Reflex arc is nothing but the nerve pathway. Nerve pathway in the reflex action. That is, see, something hot touched your skin. The what to say? The impulse that it is this hot thing touched your fingers. The impulse will travel and go to your brain, and the brain will give signal, right? So that what to say? That pathway, right? That pathway. So that pathway involved in the reflex action, that is known as the reflex arc. Okay, the reflex arc is a nerve pathway involved in the reflex action. So this is all about reflex arc, reflex action, and this chapter. Actually, we have sense organs also, but in your syllabus, sense organs is under a different chapter. But actually, sense organs was included in this chapter only. In the book, if you see, sense organs is in this chapter only, but in your syllabus, sense organs is given separately in like a different chapter. So we will discuss about sense organs next class. Okay, so this is all about. If you have any doubts from this portion, you ask. Okay, and if you have not given your attendance yet, please give it. And any doubts regarding anything that is taught today, please feel free to ask. Okay, if you don't have any doubts, you can leave. Afferent and efferent. Afferent and efferent nerve fibers. Those are nerve fibers. Okay, here in the sensory motor, those are nerve cells or neurons. Okay, just give me a second. Someone is giving attendance again. Just give me a second. You should give your attendance as soon as you join the class. Okay, so afferent and efferent is that afferent, it transmits signals from from our sense organs, that is from our tissues, organs, to the central nervous system. Okay, and the efferent, they carried impulses from the central nervous system to our sense organs or any other organs and tissues. Okay, that is the difference. And reflex action. Reflex action, you didn't understand reflex action. I explained it so well. Reflex action is something that is done involuntary, but the meeting might end, okay, because we don't have much time. Anyways, so the reflex action is something that is done without our conscious effort. That is involuntary. That is, we don't have any control over it. Okay, so like where you touched a burning lamp, you didn't know that it was hot. You touch it, automatically will withdraw your hand. You will not take time to process that in your brain and then react, right? It will go on. It will happen means automatically without your conscious effort and without even trying it, without even thinking about it. So that is a reflex action. That is without your conscious effort, without even thinking about it. If you do something, that is a reflex action. So, but when you do something voluntary, like walking, sleeping, sitting, that is not reflex action because you are doing it by your own will. You know that you will walk and you want to walk, that is why you are walking. But when you touch something hot, you don't take time to process that in your brain and just give your reaction. You will do that automatically. That will happen automatically. Or when you see something scary, you see a lion in front of you, you will run or you'll shout, even though shouting will not help. Right? So that is a reflex action. And reflex arc, that is the pathway, the nerve impulse that travels, right? Nerve impulse, they will travel through the nerve fibers. That pathway is known as the reflex arc. Pathway from touching something hot to giving the reaction, that is the reflex arc. Okay, I hope you understood, but if you have not understood anything from this portion or any other chapters from the earlier ones, you can ask me next class. Okay, go through at home. I'll give the notes today. Please ask me next class. That because today the time is ending. 2 minutes or 1 minute left. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.